Hello. Welcome back. We've got some labradorite. This stone has been probably my most profound stone that I've used through all my life. It's definitely my favorite. But I'm going to channel for you this morning in a very similar way to the way that I did when I was in Bali. So eyes closed. It'll probably happen that I do open them every now and then, but we'll see how we go. So I'm just going to tap in real quick. Give me like 25 seconds. Okay. There's a lot of mental chatter happening for the collective at the moment. A lot of it. Just consistent overthought. Consistent like a consistent microphone that keeps a consistent, it's like your phone. Like you keep getting notifications consistently without prompt, without warning, just keep popping up. Notification, and those notifications are your thoughts. And while they are warranted, what you are being asked of is to be with them. That showed me bees. You're being asked to, what is that? Hold on one second. Okay. So, what you're being asked to do is to sit with the narrative of those thoughts. And there's two reasons why. Because what will eventuate will be profound and change the way that you experience. Okay. So, the current thoughts that you are having at the moment are thoughts, patterns, behaviors old streams is what I want to say. That belong to the narrative of who you are, right? And the narrative of who you are up until this moment is impressions from experiences that have happened through the course of your existence. And what Spirit is currently asking of the collective, and the reason why a lot of us are having this mental chatter over and over, these consistent notifications, sometimes the same notifications over and over, is because they would like for you to identify the elements of the narrative that can be switched off. What you may notice is that the ones that are recurrent and the ones that are the notifications that are the same over and over are the ones that are asking to be identified first and to be worked through first. This is a level of subconscious healing that is not outwardly, but it is also an element of self-love that directly has an impact on the auric field. Well, I like that. Okay. So, the ability to identify these notifications will allow for the narrative to realign. So the narrative being you, it'll allow you to realign yourself with the thoughts, patterns, behaviors, and ways of being that feel truly aligned with what you want to experience. This type of act of self-love is very different to what we know, right? What we have been, I want to say institutionalized to thinking is that self-love is the face mask, the massage, the material items that exist within our experience, our physical experience. And while these are the stepping stones we get to in terms of energetic self-love, subconscious healing is an internal act of self-love as opposed to a external act of self-love. While the two are different in nature, the physical act only lasts energetically within the moment that it is experienced, right? But the subconscious way of healing and the subconscious acts of self-love leave impressions on the body that last a lifetime. We're at a point right now where the access you have to subconscious healing is right in front of you. This is why the notifications keep coming up and keep coming up and keep coming up, even though we would love to bloody turn them off, right? They are asking the human to realign the narrative, the thoughts, behaviors, patterns. I'm sorry, I'm going on about it. It is what it is. The thoughts, behaviors, patterns, attitudes, ways of being that are only a result of the impressions that have been left on the physical body via the experience. And when we can identify those aspects of the narrative that are only present because of past experience, we have the ability to deactivate them at our will. Straight up. There is no need for linear healing. It's a simple fact of identifying and releasing. Identifying and releasing over and over and over until our narrative of self aligns its energy with pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is all that we are. And while we experience this physical experience, there are two systems that run parallel to each other as we experience our physical journey. That being the subconscious, what do I want to say? Okay. Oh my God. Okay, we gave Laura, this is interesting, we gave Laura a specific visual about 2 weeks ago. And this visual was of two screens. One screen being completely blank. Two small screens parallel to each other, one in front of the other. And for good reason as to why they're in front of each other, like one is in front of each other. So the first one is your pure consciousness. That is the first screen. This screen is completely blank. No attachments, no emotions, no attitudes, no behaviors, no patterns, no thoughts, no nothing. It is blank, and blank for a reason. The second screen, that is the way that you show up to the world, is the narrative of the human, is the narrative of Laura, right? Who has experienced the physical nature of this reality, and as a result has had impressions put upon the physical body that have written story as to who she is. This story is consistent of attitudes, behaviors, patterns, thoughts, ways of being. And so the mental chatter that you're experiencing is asking you to identify what is in your narrative. What notifications are you consistently getting in the narrative that are pulling you back, that are trying to be identified and worked through so that you can pull back into pure consciousness, into the seat of your, I want to say the seat of your soul. Because your soul and the narrative of self are very different. The narrative of self is who you came here to be, the role you came here to play. But the soul is pure consciousness. Everything is slowing down. And while it feels like right now, we are in a transitional period between consistent and forward movement that has felt like it has been moving at a rapid pace, we are transitioning to a slower way of being. So the mental chatter feels really intense in a rapid way, because we are also experiencing a slowing of time. Okay, and so in the transition of this, the notifications will continue to pop up until you identify and work through them. The reason why you're being asked to work through them now is so that when we transition and the rapid nature of this reality becomes deactivated, and the slower moving way of experiencing is fully online, the notifications cease to exist. As this transition happens, wow, it's green. As this transition happens, the energy will move from the mind into the heart. The energy will become slower, easier, and you'll be able to you'll be able to transition with more ease as you open your heart to the experience that you're having. What you will remember in this process is a particular way of experiencing this physical journey. This way of being, I'll start by saying, is an energy that holds space for a experience that allows you to be present in the moment with your experience as it is, no changes, because the mental mind is turned off. The mental mind and the subconscious beliefs have been transcended in the experience to form the remembering of what was actually meant to be experienced in your physical journey. All right, for the remembering. You remember that this experience is non-conditional. Each moment that you come into present reality, you remember that everything is as it should be. Everything that you experience, every circumstance, every situation, every problem that you experience is as it should be, because your truest nature remembers surrendering, trusting, and allowing the acceptance of happiness regardless of the outcome you are trying to achieve. There may be experiences in your current in the present moment right now that you are moving through that are causing stress, mental chatter, overwhelm as a result, that don't feel aligned with the truest nature of who you are. This is why they feel uncomfortable. This is why they feel like you want to disassociate from the experience. Because your truest nature remembers that regardless of the outcome, no overwhelm, stress, or mental chatter will change the aspects of your experiences that are to come. Everything will happen the way it is meant to happen regardless. Every experience that you have is exactly what you need. Every moment in your present moment is aligned with how you're meant to be experiencing. And for so long, the human has been caught up in the hamster wheel of overthought, trying to control and navigate the physical experience. But the truest nature of this physical experience is to trust wherever the experience is leading you, regardless of the outcome. And when you can have acceptance for either outcome, whatever it may be, you could have 10 different timelines open, and what I mean by that is 10 different thought patterns that have presented themselves, and you're like, oh, it could go this way, it could go this way, it could go this way. But your objective here is to always trust every single timeline. And while you can create and think and imagine all of the ways it could possibly go, your only task is to trust and surrender to it all. And open your heart to the experience of whatever presents itself. That's your only job. Transmission's complete. While we're moving at a very rapid rate right now, consciously, in terms of our consciousness, the energy on the earth is slowing. And so, as a result, you've got two very different elements of experience. You've got the feeling of a quickening, because your consciousness is expanding at a rapid rate, and you've also got the slowing of the physical nature of this experience. And the two are like a positive and negative, right? And what happens when you put a positive and a negative battery together? There is friction that happens between here and here. And sometimes they don't like to touch. When that happens, there's friction that happens in the body that doesn't feel very comfortable. And that happens within our experience as a whole, right? Even when it happens, like, for example, when you're having an interaction with someone and they don't agree with what you're saying, or they don't understand what you're saying. Positive, negative, just causing a little bit of friction. Doesn't mean one way is right and one way is wrong. It just means that there's a little bit of friction because our energy fields are butting heads. Just that simple, right? But every time your mind has it over you, tell it to turn itself off. Deactivate the narrative. Deactivate that stream of thought that relates to the past impressions that the experience has left on you. You are not bound by any pattern, behavior, or experience of your past. None of it. You're not bound by it. All that you are bound by is the present moment. And in the present moment, you get to choose exactly the state of being that you wish to embody. Nothing more. The past is the past for the reason, right? Our past is wow. Please hold. Our past is the past for a reason. Thank you. We don't have to associate ourselves with the past anymore. We don't need to do the healing. We don't need to do anything. All we need to do is come into the present moment and be who we are as we are. The frequencies of remembering are coming online right now. They're very much online for me. There was one day I woke up last week, and this was after a period of doing the subconscious healing myself, like I was just talking about the acts of self-love. I'd spent about 3 weeks doing that. And it looked like me spending hours alone a day watching the narrative screen and the codes in the narrative screen, aka the thoughts in that screen, drift across my consciousness and identifying if I wanted them to stay or not. And if I didn't want them to stay, I told them to fuck off. That's so explicit. I told them to deactivate. I deactivated them. I have the power to do that, and so do you. And what it's allowed for me to do is to remember the truest nature of my being. So I woke up one day last week after the few weeks of subconscious sorting, and I just had this overwhelming sense of remembering, like down to the point where I was like, oh, I remember doing that. And a little bit prior to that, actually, just between the spaces of me actually doing the subconscious work, I was having trips in my physical reality. Like I went somewhere while I was in between doing all of this, and I went and I ate something, and as I ate it and I put it on my tongue and my senses interacted with it, I was like, oh, why do I remember doing this? Why do I remember tasting this? And that happened to me a few times in my experience where my reality tripped out, and I was like, oh, I remember doing that. And it was like my soul was coming online and being like, oh no, you knew you were going to experience that. That's just you understanding the remembering of your experience. And so I've been playing with that energy recently, the energy of remembrance. And I can't tell you how powerful it is. I can, but it is so powerful when you remember your natural state of being and remembering exactly what your body came here to experience. So one thing they're asking me to mention is the physical nature of it. And during my experience of this, I, again, was playing with the energy, and I would move. You know when you sometimes move and you feel a little bit of a lapse in your movement? Like, oh shit, that I nearly wobbled off there, right? What I would do is take the frequency of remembrance and embody it physically in my body and be like, oh, I remember moving like this, and get up and move with so much more certainty in my body that it activated my energy field to experience that frequency within my entire experience. And then there was one day that I woke up, like I was saying before, and I was like, I remember doing that, I remember doing that, I remember doing that, I remember doing that, I remember doing that. And so now, when I go to experience something, or if I'm about to experience something and I'm questioning it, I go, do I remember experiencing that? Do I remember that? If it feels unnatural, maybe that's my discernment telling me that's not part of my experience. Maybe that's Laura coming online and trying to dictate the experience, right? And if it does feel right, I will feel it in my body, and I will be able to embody the remembrance frequency, and it'll feel good, to put it lightly. But the power of having that frequency embodied and knowing how to use it in conjunction with your own discernment changes your experience. It does. It really does. It's really powerful. Anyway, I'm going to love and leave you here. It's 29 minutes long. I think this is the longest YouTube video that I've ever recorded. Maybe they're due to get longer in the near future. Do I remember that? Yeah, I do. Unfortunately. No, it's fine. But yeah, I'm gonna. Maybe I'll make it a little bit longer. I did do some writing on the frequencies of remembering recently, and I kind of want to read a little bit of it. I don't know which one. Okay. As an energetic being, you came to Earth with the with an agreed to soul mission. Not only to learn how to transcend the energetics. I'm going to start again because my language is cooking me. Okay. As an energetic being, you came to Earth with an agreed to soul mission. Not only to learn to transcend the energetics of your experience and the experience that you encounter throughout your life, but to also reintegrate the frequencies that your body already holds, simply because you are a being of energy. You're made of energy. Without consistent regulation, the human's experience tends to be one of push and pull, like I was saying with that positive and negative, right? Sometimes seeming to flow, and other times causing friction to the impressions in the body that have not been regulated. This is often not discussed. One thing that we are not necessarily educated on as humans is that when we enter this world, the only element that we understand as infants, like I was saying earlier, is energy-based. Your entire body is energy-based. We don't have the comprehensive understanding to back where we are, what we're physically experiencing. Energy is the original form of understanding. We'll rely upon expression, knowing, and energetic sensing to determine what our bodies need in any given moment. We enter this incarnation through energetic form and exit the same way. Your only expectation is to stay in alignment with the form of energy that is truest to you. Okay, 31 minutes, 32 minutes actually. I'm going to love and leave you. Stay hydrated. We're moving through a lot. Take it easy. But also start quieting. Is that a word? Quieting? It is now. Start quieting the mental chatter. You don't have to have it turned on if you don't want it turned on. You can turn it off at your own will. Anyway. Peace, love, harmony. And continue transcending. Okay.